And for the word of God, I'd like to speak to you on breaking prolonged battles. If you like, ending prolonged battles. There are certain battles in our lives which you look at them and you say, look, this has taken more time than necessary. A lady just told me something that touched me. He said, Pastor, I came to see you because fear had gripped me. I said, why are you afraid? She said, because this morning, as I was dressed up to go to school, I've been having this sharp pain on my left breast, and I tried to examine it, and I found out that it's forming a lump. And I asked my roommate to check it, and she felt the same thing, and it's so painful. I said, okay, so he said, why I am afraid and I didn't go to write my exam is because my grandmother died of brain cancer. They cut off her breast, but she still died. I just buried my mother 2 years ago. The same thing killed my mother, breast cancer. My mother's younger sister that carried us and lived with us, when she got married, she didn't even have any child. Breast cancer killed her. And now, look at me. Pastor, I'm just 21 years old. I don't know, what am I going to say? Prolonged battle. You can see, just like what happened to blind Bartimaeus. The father was a blind man, he too a blind man. Blindness was running in their blood. Prolonged battles. In the book of 2 Kings chapter number 3, we are told about this prolonged battle that went on between Israel and Moab. The Bible said that King Mishael had served Israel, had come under their captivity for a long time. I read from verse 26. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. You see, he even made effort. He tried his best, just like so many people have tried their best to end a particular prolonged battle. Someone said to me, I was married for 18 years. And from the second week of my marriage, I never enjoyed my marriage. I kept carrying my husband from one hospital to the other hospital. He was anyway very comfortable, and his family was comfortable too. We sold everything that he had, and then we had to move it to the family house. The family started contributing. Everyone was impoverished, and yet my husband died. I didn't have any baby. My husband died. I stood with my husband for 18 years. Prolonged battle. Someone said to me, since I gave birth to my last child, I have been battling with high blood pressure. This is my 14th year of battling with high blood pressure. There's nothing I've not done to let high pressure go away, but it's still there. Someone said to me, I've been battling diabetes for a long time. This is the 27th year of being on drugs, diabetes patient. I've been battling it for a long time. Someone said to me, Pastor, my father, there's this case I brought the file, I wanted to lay hands on it. I said, what's the case all about? He said, my father's property. Someone decided to, come take it over from him. And my father said, no, you can't take my property. I bought it. I paid for it. I fenced it. It's my property. I don't know where you're coming from. Show evidence. He brought something that somebody sold it. I said, go and look for who sold it to you. I bought it right from the owners who settled it. I had my pictures, I had videos, and everything is with me. So I don't know what you're talking about. Who sold it to you? And since then, we've been in court. He said, my father fought this legal battle for 20 years of his life and died. And now I've taken over the same file and I've been fighting it. Pastor, today they are going to announce the judgment. I want you to pray before I go to court. I said, how long have you handled it yourself? He said, 7 years. So this legal battle have lasted for 27. Your father 20, you 7 years. Prolonged battle. I don't know the kind of battle that you are fighting that been prolonged. Maybe it's a family issue. It's been prolonged. I want to show you how to end prolonged battles in your life. You can end it. When King Mishael saw that the battle was so fierce, he needed to end that prolonged battle. What did he do? In verse 27, then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. That was the end of the battle. Ending prolonged battle in the life. The Bible said there was great indignation against Israel. Remember that before Israel went into this battle, they went to the Lord in prayer, and Prophet Elisha prophesied directly and clear that you are going to win this battle. You are going to subdue Masha and his nation again. And they teamed up, 3 nations right now. Judah came and joined hands with Israel, and they all came to fight King Masha. And they went by prophetic instruction, you are going to win. But they got to that point. That young man did something that cost Israel. The first time Israel lost the battle in that manner, and God turned his back on Israel, because a man planted what I call warfare seed. When you want to end a prolonged battle in your life, there is a type of sacrifice called warfare seed. He took the best of what he had. Look at what happened to Jephthah. Jephthah had the same thing. The king of Ammon, the same nation, just before this time around, Jephthah, during the time of the judges, fought the same Ammon. Ammon decided to destroy Jephthah, destroy the people of God, destroy Judah and Jerusalem. Remember, they threw Jephthah away because they said the mother was a harlot. And Gileadite said, no, you cannot inherit us with our father. And Jephthah went away. But when the battle came, the children of Ammon, they came heavily on them, and it was so difficult for them. They went looking for Jephthah, and Jephthah made a pact with them and said, I'm going to fight, but you're going to bring me back and give me leadership. They said, yeah. Now, how did Jephthah fight that battle? How? In Judges chapter number 11, from verse 30 to 32, and Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, if thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. You know the rest of the story. When Jephthah returned, it was her daughter, the only child that he has, the only thing that he had, and Jephthah offered the daughter as a sacrifice, and that was how the prolonged battle ended. Now look at what happened. There was a battle between Peninnah and Hannah. Peninnah was always taunting Hannah because her womb was locked, she was barren. But one day Hannah went to church to pray. Do you know how Hannah ended that battle of barrenness? She gave the Lord the best that he had. And when she was in bitterness of soul, I'm reading 1 Samuel chapter number 1 from verse 10 to 11, and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but wilt give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Did you see the same thing with Hannah? Hannah ended the prolonged barrenness in her life by giving God the son that he had. Before she even gave birth to the boy, she had offered it to the Lord. I will give the Lord my son. Did you see that? Now look at Jonah. Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days. He has been there for too long. Jonah said, I need to end this matter. It's getting too much. What did Jonah do? Look at what Jonah did. In Jonah chapter number 2, verses 1, 9, and 10. He said, then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly. Verse 9. But I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah